What's going on, guys? For Scarlet Nation, Brian Fonseca, Cheikh and Jai here at the Rutgers Athletic Center. Rutgers just defeated Indiana 66-58 for its third consecutive victory. The first time Rutgers has had a three-game in-conference win streak in 15 years since the Big East, and the first time it's ever done it in the Big Ten. Rutgers overcame an early deficit from Indiana. They were down by as much as 10, ripped off a 27-3 run, which is probably the best basketball I've seen this season. And in terms of numbers, that is probably the biggest run Rutgers has had since it joined the Big Ten and probably in a decade. I don't know. I'll have to run some numbers on that. But Cheikh, just coming off this game today, what did you think of how they played and how they were able to pull this out?
What I saw definitely from this team is that when the team got punched, they responded back through adversity. First 8 minutes in the first half, there were 8 turnovers. It was sloppy basketball, just sloppy basketball. However, before the first half ended, it seemed like the team in general just received a spark from Eugene from getting the ball inside and transfer over to the second half.
Yeah, that really sloppy start was starting to become a theme. They had a sloppy start against Nebraska too, and they were able to overcome it. In the future, that might not be, something they could get over that hurdle. Like, for example, if they do that against Michigan next week, that can be a problem. But for now, they were able to pull it out with that run. It really seemed like, offense fed off defense, and things just really got rolling during that stretch.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, Eugene sparked the way. Guards especially had some sloppy turnovers. When Rutgers got the ball inside, it was just able to calm the offense down. The guards relied too much to make plays. However, when the team got the ball inside to Miles, when he wasn't in foul trouble, or Eugene, Shaq Carter, it simplified the offense and made everyone's lives just a little bit more easier, and then other opportunities arose, and then the spark defensively came from generating easy offense.
Yep. And I think just bouncing off your point on Eugene, he was, I think, really the spark of this 3-game winning streak. It's been written about before. I've written about it, how he held a players-only meeting the day after losing to Northwestern, the last loss they've had before they ripped off the streak. He came back to that game against Nebraska, played tough, and he's really just been a fuel. He didn't lead them in scoring, I don't think, in any of these games aside from today, but he's just been a big figure, kind of a security blanket for the guards to throw inside. He makes things work, and leadership above all. Like I said, he called the meeting. I think he mentioned he called another meeting after the Nebraska game or the Penn State game, one of those. And today, for example, Peter Kiss gets a rebound at the last minute, gets a little bit of a scuffle against the Indiana guys. He's getting a little heated. He's an emotional player. And Eugene and Gio also, pull him aside, tell him to calm down. The game's over. Don't do anything stupid to, somehow lose us this game. And that's leadership that's important in a young team. Have guys put your arm around their shoulder and tell them the right thing to do. And I think that's really been a big catalyst of this 3-game streak. Is there anything to you that sticks out from how they've been playing over the last week?
Just fighting through adversity. This is a young team, so you never know how a young team is going to respond, especially when they get punched, as what happened in Indiana and other games in the past, with St. John's, Minnesota. So transferring a game like this in Iraq to at Ohio State, where a team like that is coming for vengeance, we'll see how a young team responds to such as that. But this is definitely momentum heading in the right direction. This is definitely a step forward compared to a step backward.
This is probably the best Rutgers has been, like the best place they've been in since they joined the Big Ten this season.
Transitioning a victory like this to the road, the rack isn't going to follow at Ohio State. In any place where we see a blowout loss against Minnesota, it has to be the same team from the road. At home goes against the road. Yep. It just has to be like that in order for the team to take the next transition from young and good to elite.
Rutgers still has not won away from home against Big Ten competition other than Penn State. They're 2-1 at Penn State, 0-37, I want to say, against the rest of the league.
And Penn State was progress, but they're also bottom of the conference as well. So you have to take that with a grain of salt and realize that there's levels to this conference. This is the best conference in the league. And Indiana, for example, they're going through a 7-game lose streak. However, they were held in high regard before the season even started and early on to the season. So it just shows you how so much can change. But in order to be taken seriously in this conference, you have to win on the road. The rack crowd's not going to follow everyone. There's going to be testy fans everywhere you go, even in neutral side as well. So Rutgers has to take the next transition in order to really entertain such losses as the NIT. It has to transition to the road in order for it to really entertain serious thoughts such as that.
Yep.
But for a young team like this, progress is the best thing, and right now we're seeing progress.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, next chance at an away win is at Ohio State, a team they've beaten here at the RAC before, a team that's a bit angry. It's going to probably play angry against Rutgers. They'll want to avenge that loss. So that'll be a good next test for Rutgers. I think the schedule kind of sets up nicely during the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you beat a really Nebraska team here. You get your first road win in the Big Ten season this year. You beat struggling Indiana team at home, this win. They should have won this game, and they did. They won a game they should have. Then they go on the road, play a team they've beaten before, but have to beat on the road. And if you beat them, you bring home the number 5 team in the country. You have a tremendous chance of developing a 5-game winning streak and picking up a massive signature upset win. Obviously, that's thinking a little far ahead because you still have to beat Ohio State, but the steps are there to be taken for Rutgers to continue on this build.
Even if the team lost majority games heading in, as long as the foundation is set at this point, and as long as good habits are being built, the team cannot judge this based on wins and losses. However, you want the good habits to be set, and it just doesn't mean the record-wise. Right now, Rutgers is 8th in the conference, so that's tremendous progress coming into the season where Rutgers has been in the bottom of the barrel for the past 3 years. This means a lot for the program, and in order for Rutgers to take the next step, the foundation has to be built. Fans are seeing that in general. So in order for it to go into the next season, the latter part of the season has to be set with good habits.
I don't think any team has ever been as content as Rutgers is right now, being in 8th place. It's, like you said, a great foundation being built for the program. You can't run before you walk. You can't walk before you crawl. Rutgers is learning how to crawl, learning how to walk, and these steps are vital. And if Steve Pikiell manages to turn this ship all the way around, in the future takes them to the NCAA tournament, these are steps that you're going to look back on and think, this is where I started to see progress being built. This is where the foundation, as you said, is developing. So the next step for Rutgers is an away trip to Columbus, Saturday at noon on Big Ten Network. It's going to be interesting to see how they react to this. They've been treating each win like a normal thing. That's their new mantra, just treating every win like it should happen.
Want to know.
Want to know? That's Steve Pikiell is channeling his inner Kyle Flood, which I know a couple of guys on the board are starting to sweat a little bit, but we'll see if Rutgers can go 1-0 on Saturday against Ohio State. Until then, I'm Brian Fonseca. This is Cheikh and Jai, Scarlet Nation from the RAC. Check it out.